Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to this recording on the application documents for the call for proposal of the Women, Peace and Humanitarian Fund and Spotlight Initiative in Papua New Guinea. My name is Sophie from the WPHF Secretariat. To access the documents presented during this recording, you can go to our webpage and click on the following section, funding. Here, go to call for proposals, scroll down, and you will find the PNG call for proposal, which is currently open. In this page, you will find background information on the call for proposal. It is a partnership between the Women's Peace and Humanitarian Fund and the Spotlight Initiative. Scroll down and you will find at the bottom of this section all of the relevant documents to be completed. Before we start, you will find in this information regarding the criteria to apply. There are two funding streams. One is institutional funding from $2,500 to $30,000. This funding stream aims to provide institutional funding to local civil society organizations working on gender-specific protection issues in peace and security and humanitarian contexts to ensure they are able to sustain themselves through the COVID-19 crisis. The second funding stream is a programmatic funding ranging from $30,000 to $200,000. This funding stream aims to finance projects that aim specifically to fund programmatic activities aligned with the Spotlight Initiative Outcome 6 and the WPHF Outcome 5. Projects can be designed to directly respond to the COVID-19 pandemic as long as they are aligned with both of these outcomes. Important. Please note that an organization can only apply once, either to one or both streams. Organizations who choose to apply for both streams will need to submit 2 application packages based on the requirements and related templates of each stream. There are some geographical restrictions to this call for proposal. You can apply for projects if these are active in the following provinces: National Capital District, Morobe, East New Britain, Autonomous Region of Bougainville, East Sepik, West Sepik, Western Province, and all Highlands provinces, including Enga, Hela, Southern Highlands, Western Highlands, Eastern Highlands, Chiwaka, and Shimbu. The application deadline is 21st August 2020. By clicking on these documents here, you will download each relevant document in Word. The first project document to download is this one, which is general information on the call for proposal. Let me show you so we can run through it together. Okay, here we go. In this document, here we go. In this document, you will find all the important information you need to read before you start completing the application template. Here you will have general information about the Women's Peace and Humanitarian Fund, as well as the Spotlight Initiative. You will also have information about our partnership, which is across different countries in the world. Finally, you will get information about the nature and scope of this call for proposal. It's very important that you refer to this document as most of your questions might be answered here. Only projects that are taking place in PNG will be accepted. The geographical locations I have mentioned before are also one of the criteria. Multi-country projects will not be accepted. The focus of the call for proposal is on local civil society organizations working on gender-specific protection issues and violence against women and girls in peace and security and humanitarian contexts. Special attention will be provided to applicants supporting women and girls and multiple intersections forms of discrimination, such as those marginalized and excluded due to poverty, ethnicity, disability, age, geography, migratory status, HIV status, amongst others. It is very important that your proposal is aligned to both outcome areas. They are both listed here. The Spotlight Outcome Area 6, which is women's and girls' rights groups, movements, and CSOs, including those facing intersecting and multiple forms of discrimination, more effectively influence and advance progress on gender equality and ending violence against women, including domestic violence. The second outcome that they must respond to is the WPHF Outcome 5, ensuring that women and girls' safety, physical and mental health, and security are assured and their human rights respected, requires measures that prevent acts of violence, facilitates access to services for survivors of violence, and strengthens accountability mechanisms. For more information on how these activities could look like, specifically during COVID-19 period, you can click on this link here, which will bring you to a tip sheet on COVID-19 Pillar 6 implementation. This COVID tip sheet, I'm just bringing it up so you can see it, was prepared by the Spotlight Initiative. It provides information around recommended activities. These are all optional and suggestions. Of course, you can decide on what is best for the context you are working in and the needs that you need to address. But this might be helpful in terms of guidance. We have here additional information on the location of the grants. In terms of the duration, the projects can be of a maximum period of 2 years. It can be less, it can be 6 months, 1 year, it is up to you. In terms of the funding streams, as I mentioned earlier, there are 2 funding streams. The first one is for institutional funding. This means you cannot apply for specific project activities for beneficiaries under this institutional funding, but rather try to strengthen your organizational capacity and institutional capacity and adapt and be able to adapt to respond to the needs in the COVID-19 crisis. Under funding stream 2, you will be able to focus mostly on delivering activities and programmatic activities aligned with both outcomes we just read out. As I mentioned earlier, you can apply to both, but you will need to fill in both application documents and provide all of the relevant information and submit them together. In terms of eligibility and the application for and the selection process. So here you have more information on who is eligible to apply and receive funds. As you can read through here, we are looking, international, national and local women-led women's rights, feminists or civil society organizations with a proven track record working with women and girls in PNG are eligible to apply. Grassroots and local community-based organizations are particularly encouraged to apply. Joint projects are allowed and encouraged. This means that, for example, if you would like to do a project together with more organizations, you can apply all together, and in the application form you will see there are specific areas where you can mention which organization is going to work on what and how your relationship will be. This can include, for example, partnerships between national and smaller working group, community-based organizations, or networks of women, etc. The following are not eligible to apply for a grant from WPHF. Organizations proposing a multi-country intervention, organizations proposing an intervention in a country different from the eligible country, organizations or lead organizations that are not legally registered in the country or territory of implementation. So here I pause because this is very important. If you are the lead application, the lead organization that is applying, you will need to demonstrate and to provide your legal registration certificate. If you do not have any, but you are working on the ground, you can partner with another organization who is registered legally in the country or territory of implementation and work together. It is only the lead organization that needs to demonstrate proof of legal registration. Governments, agencies, or institutions are not eligible. UN agencies or country teams are not eligible. Private individuals, private sectors, entities, universities, and education institutions are not eligible. So here you have a bit more information about the legal status and registration. As I just explained, only the lead partner has to provide legal registration proof. Your project has to cover only one country, as I mentioned, and only apply once. You can either apply as a lead or as a partner. Can more organizations apply jointly? Yes, of course, and this is encouraged. May I apply for funding for an ongoing initiative or project? Yes, WPHF accepts proposals for ongoing projects. However, please specify the value added of this additional contribution. What are the requirements in terms of project design? The projects must contribute to both of the outcome areas that were described in the previous section. This means both outcome area 6 of the Spotlight initiative and outcome area 5 of the WPHF. Civil society organizations are not required to contribute to the budget. More information about the call for proposal can be asked during an open day session, as well as by email to Felicitas Sanga from the UN Women Country Office. Here you will find more information on when and how to apply for the call for proposal. It is very important that when you submit your package, it is one email with all of the documents attached together. If you submit the documents one by one, it is possible that it might not all be considered. So please make sure that within one email application, you submit all of the necessary and mandatory documents. Here you have a quick list to make sure that you have not forgotten any of the documents needed for the application package. Do not submit additional documents than the ones listed. Finally, in this section, you will find different points that we are looking at during the evaluation. It's important to take a look at this section while you are designing and writing your proposal. This might help in making sure that you address all of the different points that are going to be taken into account during the evaluation. Finally, you will find some useful resources here, links to different supporting documents, websites, etc. Now, going back to the application process. As you go to the web page, here, there we go, you have to decide whether you would like to apply for stream 1 or stream 2 or both. So by clicking on one of the stream documents, you will get access to the application document. The application document for stream 1 and stream 2 are different. It's important that you use the correct one. So application document for stream 1, here we go. Let me bring it bigger. There we go. This is the stream 1 package for institutional funding. You should complete all of the sections. If not all sections are completed, your application might be considered as incomplete. The Puno section should be left empty. This is the only section that should be left empty. Please specify all of the information required here in the cover page. Other contributions are optional. If there are no other contributions, please make sure that the total amount for WPHF contribution and total project costs are the same. The total duration is maximum 12 months. Please tick only one of the boxes here in terms of the type of organization of the lead organization. For Stream 1, there is only one organization that can apply. You cannot apply in partnership with other organizations. You can leave the section on Puno empty and here add all of the information of your organization representative. The first section is a summary of the proposal. So the project title, a brief information on the vision or mission of your organization, the location, target beneficiaries. Please mention if there are any specific groups that I will be targeting, and disaggregate, if possible, the data by gender. And finally here, please provide a short summary of the proposal. What is your objectives of your project and the overall strategy? In this section, please provide a little bit of a context and situation analysis, a justification of why your project is needed. In this section, rationale for Spotlight and WPHF support, please describe how the current crisis has impacted your institutional and financial capacities and continuity for the organization. I remind you, this is the application process for Stream 1, which is institutional funding. Therefore, it's very important here that you explain how your organization is struggling or impacted negatively by this crisis, and how this funding will be useful in making sure the organization can continue its work. In this section, please describe the expected results from this funding. You have a bit of more detailed information on how you can do that here. And then finally here in the collaboration and coordination section, if there are any other organizations or government bodies or networks, association, or any external person that might collaborate with you to achieve the aims of the project, please mention it here. If there are any financial implications, please also mention it here. The risks and mitigation measures section is very important. We have here 3 lines, but you can of course add more lines if you identify more risks. That is of course possible. Finally, the section on sustainability it's very important to understand how you have thought about the project and the funding to be lasting in terms of its impacts. Please make sure you complete this section as well thoroughly. There are 2 annexes. Annex A is the result framework. In this section, you will see additional information as well as links and details on how to fill out this table. Importantly, here, in terms of the impact, you have already written both outcome areas. So outcome 6 from Spotlight Initiative and outcome 5 from WPHF. Please use the indicator that is already mentioned here, and you feel free to add any indicators, of course, if that is useful for you. At the outcome level, of course, it is up to you to define that outcome. In terms of indicators, some of these 3 indicators are mandatory, but you can, of course, add more indicators to this. The Annex B. The Annex B is a budget table per category. It is very important that you use specifically this table and not a different budget table. This is a mandatory requirement, and you can divide the costs across these lines. For more information on what these lines specifically include, you can go down to box 1, where we describe the different sections. Please note that there are some costs that are eligible under Stream 1 for institutional funding. You have a list here of the different costs that are eligible. I hope this is clear for Stream 1. For Stream 2, the project template is similar, but also a bit different. So we'll run through it quickly, but we'll also make sure to point out some of these differences. So for Stream 2, it's program funding. Here, you need to add any implementing partners that you will be working with. These are the implementing partners that will receive funding through your organization to implement part of the project's activities. If these implementing partners are not going to receive any funding, you do not need to mention them here. Here is where you put the lead organization's information. Similarly, these other sections are like Stream 1. Please keep the section on Puno empty and complete the section here with the information of your organization. Here, the summary of the proposal is a bit similar to the previous one. Similar sections, similar information. Here, we have a little bit more information in terms of the details of who will benefit from this project, both in terms of people, but also in case you are working with women CSOs. This is optional, but if you are, please mention here how many women CSOs you are working with. Finally here, please add a short summary of the proposal. The context and situation analysis is the same as for Stream 1. However, the section on the rationale for this Stream 2 application is different. Please make sure you look at all of the 3 paragraphs that are mentioned here and make sure that you address all of this information within this section. The section on description of the expected results. Here, the idea is that you explain the project similarly to what you will put in the result framework, but in a narrative form. So here you can also talk about a bit more about how you will be aligning your outcomes with the activities, what's the strategy, and what are the results that you are aiming to achieve. In terms of partnerships, if you have formal partnerships with implementing partners, you can add information here about them. This is optional. If you do not have any other partners for the implementation of this project, please skip this section. What we consider formal partnerships are partnerships where another organization is going to receive funding through this project, through your own organization, in order to implement some of the activities. Here you can mention the name and type of the organization, as well as the role and responsibilities they will have in the project. In terms of collaboration and coordination, this is where, for example, you could talk about other types of partnerships that you will have, or in terms of coordination, collaboration that you will have with other stakeholders. This means that you will be working maybe with different stakeholders on the issues without having a contract with them or giving them funding. The section on capacity building of CSOs. If your project is targeting building the capacity of local women organizations or CSOs, please describe what these initiatives consist in and how they will be carried out. This is also information that is reflected in the first page in terms of how you will, through this project, also support some local women organizational groups. The risk and mitigation measure section is the same as for Stream 1. Please add some sections here, some rows if you have more ideas or needs or risks identified. And finally, here you will see a new section, which is monitoring, evaluation, and management arrangements. Please here make sure you describe how you will monitor your interventions and evaluate the results, including in terms of frequency or tools that you will be using. You can also mention the management structure for the project, so what staff will be involved and who will be doing what. Finally, the sustainability section is the same as for Stream 1. It's very important that you please explain how you will be ensuring the longer impacts of this project. There are 2 annexes, similarly to Stream 1, Annex A for the result framework and Annex B with the budget. For the Annex A result framework, you will see again here the impact at the impact level, both of the mandatory outcomes, areas of Spotlight Initiative and WPHF. You will also see indicators, and you can choose 2 indicators that are the most relevant to your project. This is really at the impact level. At the outcome level and output levels, of course, this is all up to you, and you can describe and identify them and design them the way you seem is more fit to your context and needs. Finally, Annex B is the same as for Stream 1. Please make sure you use this table and complete it correctly. Make sure that the amounts add up and that they are in US dollars. You will find a description of all of the different categories in the box 1 under UNDG categories. I hope this is helpful and that you will be applying to our call for proposal. We look very much forward to receiving and to reading all of your proposals. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please refer to the email address that was included in the call for proposal information here. And you can find all of these documents in our webpage if you click on the WPHF Fund, WPHFfund.org, and then go to Funding, Call for Proposals, and select the PNG Call for Proposal. That is here. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.